barrier issues. Let those that have money arrive first. When they arrive, then they will say, they have arrived, even if it was one person, Babuela, because money is important. If you have no money, even in such gatherings, and all of you are in-laws, those that have no money are the ones that will be sent in the village set up to go fetch firewood. Those that have money are those that draw the program, the burial program, who give the opening prayer and whatnot. Because money has what? Power. And in fact, even on things that do not make so much sense, when money is pumped into them, they seem to make so much sense. Like take for instance, and I've shared this before, what is so normal? Honestly, let us just face it. What is so normal with 22 grown-up men, 22 adults chasing packaged air for 90 minutes? What is so normal with that? If you look at it, it doesn't make so much sense. But because sports is a $3 trillion business, so much money has been pumped into it, even if it doesn't make so much sense, when the World Cup is taking place in the villages, people in the village know that there is the World Cup. And by the way, did you know that even for things that do not make so much sense because of money, they seem to make sense? Did you know that the day after Christmas is a holiday? What is that holiday? Boxing Day. People with money pull strings, and we all follow suit. Now imagine if we, as God's children, had the financial muscle, how much more would we take the Advent message to all the world? How much more would we impact lives out there? How much more would we change this world to be a better place? So let us not pretend around money. In fact, if you look at it even on weddings, the people that we call as guests of honor, we don't look really at those that have stayed in marriage for a longer time or the prayer warriors. We look at people that have money, right? Even building promotions at your respective churches, who do you call as guest of honor for the building promotion? Do you call the most prayerful? Yeah, you call those with money. So there is nothing wrong with money, provided money is used to the glory of God. That is where the key is. If money is used to the glory of God, nothing wrong with it. Then from there, we moved on to share that there is need for us to begin thinking of entrepreneurship, to begin thinking of enterprising. Or maybe let me break it down for you. We have wealthy people in the world, and we have poor people in the world. Now I'll pick out one group that has shown, one group that has made it. I want us to pick out lessons from this group, and this is the group of Jews. 1900, I'll look at one group, the Jews. 1900, 3 million Jews appeared on the shores of the United States. And these are Jews that were, being butchered in Germany, being killed in Ukraine. These came in as immigrants, 1900. The average wealth of these 3 million Jews, the average wealth per Jew was about $9, which is 200 kwacha or so. That was the average wealth of these Jews. And 50 years later, the wealth of Jews in the United States, on average, it was more than double the average wealth of the citizens of the United States. Within 50 years, it had gone more than double. And within 100 years, the Jews have accumulated wealth to the point that out of 400 billionaires that are in the United States, 100 are Jews. And Jews are just 2% of the United States. But they account for a quarter of the wealth in the United States. And you might think that is just in the United States. This story is across the globe. Jews have been phenomenal. If you look at the most prized prize, which is called
the Nobel Prize. Jews with a population of 15 million. Their country has a smaller population than Zambia. With a population of 15 million, Jews have produced 22% of Nobel Prizes. They account for a quarter of the most prestigious prizes in the world. But they just have a population of 15 million. Now, here's the thing. We, the blacks, we have a population in excess of 2.1 billion. But we account for 1.5% of prices. We are not doing so much. So Jews have flourished. Now, what can we pick from the Jews? 2 lessons come out on the life of the Jews. 2 things that they do phenomenally well. Number 1, Jews read a lot. Their reading culture is so great. From a very young age, they learn to read. From a very young age, they learn to read the Torah. So from a very young age, Jews read. And it is because of their ability to read, it is because of their application in that space that Jews have flourished. As an example, just to put to context, China, as an example, publishes 440,000 books every year. And most of these powerful countries, United States, UK, they publish around 300,000 books every year. And these are countries, India, around 350,000 books every year. But here's something interesting for us Africans, who are the majority of those who are poor. We published, putting us all together, we published just about 30,000 books. And this is according to UNESCO records. We don't do much. And that is why we've remained where we are. We don't read. And we don't apply ourselves in that space. And number 2, what has made Jews stand out is that they are enterprising. Jews are enterprising. Most of them are entrepreneurs. So this has made them stand out. So entrepreneurship is extremely important. So we need to apply ourselves to begin thinking of enterprising. I already shared with you that getting a job has become very, very difficult. As such, you have no choice but to begin thinking of enterprising. So quickly, I'll share with you a few things that are extremely important in line with entrepreneurship. I'll just pick out 5 lessons that I want you to go with as you go back to your respective homes. So the first thing that I want you to pick on is idea generation. I hear this story many times. How do you come up with an idea? Where do you start from? How do I know that this idea can work? Idea generation. As I dwell on that, this is how you test your idea, if that idea can be profitable. Any idea that you have, no matter how complex it is, no matter how complicated it is, no matter how big or small it may be, here is the simple litmus test. Whichever idea that you have, whichever thought that you want to start an idea from the end going backwards. An idea that you have, begin it from the very end, working on it in reverse. Now, how do you do this? The first thing, whichever idea that you have or whichever thought that you have, begin by knowing who will pay for that idea that you have. Who can pay, who is willing to part away with money for that particular idea that you have. Sometimes we have all these different ideas that you know, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do. The first question is, who will pay for that idea? Once you know who will pay for that idea, then you work backwards. Okay, now that I have known who will pay for this idea, as you work backwards is, how do I let the person who will pay know about this idea? So then you look at how you then market that idea. Once you know how the person who will pay will know about that idea, then you go further down to assess on where you will source the components, if it is a service, how you provide that service, if it is the products, where you get these products from. So you work any idea going backwards. So you start from the end going backwards. Any idea. So if you have an idea and you can't clearly tell who will pay for that idea, then that idea either needs more assessment or that idea cannot just work. That's how you work it out. Then in line with these ideas, there are 4 steps that I want you to know that are extremely important to put to a litmus test on any idea. The first thing is, if you have known what you want to do, the first thing is know as much as you can about that idea. In short, know the game. Know everything about that business that you want to engage in. Sometimes we want to engage in businesses that we do not have time to research so much more. And as a consequence, when we get in those businesses, we find ourselves losing money. We find ourselves getting in losses. So the first thing is know as much as you can on that particular assessment. If it means doing fritters, know as much as you can on how doing fritters is done, not just in your street, not just in Lusaka, not just in Zambia, but research as much as you can. Once you've known as much as you can in line with that idea, then move to the second step, which is identify your competitors. Am I clear? Know your competitors. So once you've known the game, then number 2, know your competitors. Sometimes there are a number of ideas that we think it seems that person is making money in that particular business, and we quickly want to rush into that business. But here's the thing. Take your time to assess the people that are in those businesses. It is extremely important. Each and every business has challenges. Each and every business has a lot of challenges. As such, it is important to research on the competitors. Know the people that you'll be competing in. Know their challenges and know the things that they are not doing right. And if need be, I wanted to use the word spy. But I think there's nothing wrong with that. Who are you if Moses sent spies? Get to know them inside out. That is extremely important. Now, once you have known your competitors inside out, hello? Once you have known your competitors inside out, you can move to the third stage, which is differentiate yourself. Here's something interesting. There is no problem with you copying an idea. No problem. Any business idea that you see and you feel you can do that idea, there is no problem with you copying it. In fact, there are very few original ideas. Very few. If you look at Amazon was a copied idea. They just improved on it. If you looked at Facebook was not the first social media platform. It is only that Facebook became much more interactive. And if you look at other companies like Alibaba, they took the concept of Amazon, just modified it and put it for the Chinese market. So they copied that. So you can copy any idea that you see. Copy it, nothing wrong with that. But don't do it the same way you copied it. That is where the tricky part is. Copy, but don't do it the same way you copied it. If you look at the private schools, we know of Great North Road Academy, right? Dr. Rosa Siatwambo, do you know him? He's doing phenomenally well, but is he the first person to actually have a private school? No, it's a copied idea, but he did it differently. So there is nothing wrong with you copying. And one of the things is that there's a business that I'm involved in. Now, if you go to a bank, if you enter any bank, back in the days, when you want to get your ATM card, it will take long before you get your ATM card. But now, if you enter any bank, you realize that you get your ATM card instantly. So the machines that do that, it is done by one of my companies called DLN Technologies. So if you go there, your card is issued instantly. That is one of my companies. Now, how did I get there? We were not the first company to deal with cards. I knew the game. I researched on cards. I knew electromagnetic cards, smart cards, contact. I researched. Then number two, I did what I'm telling you. I assessed my competitors. And in fact, I'll share this with you, brethren, that I got to know the two big companies that were running the cards business in Zambia. The first one is called Neko. Neko was doing phenomenally well and is doing phenomenally well. It has outlets across the country. Neko is a huge company. So I knew my competitors to say, these are financially sound. Then over and above that, I knew there was a company called Card Technology Services. I knew to the point that I knew even the owner of Card Technology Services, who happened to be a Mr. Chilubanama, who at that point was the permanent secretary at State House. So I knew that he had, the connections. Now, knowing that I am competing against Neko, a very big company, and on the other hand, we are competing against one who is very well connected. How do you position yourself? I decided to differentiate myself. Now, how did I differentiate myself? I realized that these people are buying machines from China and South Africa. What did I decide to do? I decided to contact the manufacturers in France. When I contacted them, I managed to convince them to supply us and make us the distributors. Now, what then happened? At the point of supplying machines, when an organization comes and they want these machines, when they request for quotations, number one, our quotations were the cheapest than others. Why was that so? Because we are buying machines from the manufacturers when these we are buying from distributors, so we are the cheapest. Number two, on the quotations, we are attaching a letter from the manufacturers to show that we are the official distributors. Over and above that, we also indicated to say, in case the machines give you problems within 3 years, we'll replace them without any questions. Now, even when there is corruption, there is a level where corruption can work and beyond which it cannot work. One, you are the cheapest. Number two, you have a letter from the manufacturers. Number three, you are telling them to say, in case of any challenges with the machines, we'll replace without any questions. So at that point, the business began growing. We started hitting from one contract to the other until when we hit a reasonably big contract, which was above 500,000. Then they began searching who has won this contract. Then they realized that it was our little company. Then they came in out to do an assessment. The same thing that I was saying to say spy, they also spied on us, saw our papers. Then they also decided to say they'll get in touch with the manufacturers. But at that point, we had already, signed letters with the manufacturers to say, if anyone contacts you from Zambia, you should channel them back to us. That's how we got to see how our countrymen could write letters to the manufacturers, talking ill against us. But they were too late. We had already signed our contracts. So number one, know the game. Number two, know your competitors inside out. Number three, differentiate yourself. Copy an idea, but just differentiate yourself. Then number four, lastly, implement. There are certain ideas that are ripe to be implemented, but we are failing to implement those. So I thought I should share with you those quick points. It is just a summarized version. When we have an opportunity during the sessions, I will labor to explain so much more on how you can work on idea generation and how you can implement your ideas. Then from there, so that is the first point, idea generation and implementation. Then number two, the thing that I want you to leave with you this afternoon is that, you see, we sometimes remain mediocre for a simple reason. We have self-pity for ourselves. Let us say self-pity. Self-pity. We have self-pity for ourselves. We feel sorry for ourselves. We are in this pity pot. We feel life is unfair to us. We feel we have not been treated so well. But I want you to pick this. Regardless of how unfair circumstances have been to you, regardless of how bad circumstances have been to you, it still does not add value to you. Even if you have been unfairly treated, genuinely, unfairly treated, it still does not add wealth to you. The challenge that we have is we found ourselves in a space where we feel everyone owes us a life. We can blame everyone for our failure except ourselves. Everyone is not doing something right except ourselves. I want you, as you go back to your respective homes from this Youth Alive camp, to realize that you are 100% in charge of your life. No one owes you a life. No one. 100% your responsibility. You need to realize that even the excuses that you give, and I've shared this, even the excuses that you give, all the excuses will definitely expire. If you are an orphan, I sympathize with you. Your parents died when you were young, I sympathize with you. If your aunt is not treating you right, I sympathize with you. I sympathize with you for whatever circumstances you might have. But here's the thing that I want you to pick, is that even that excuse will still expire. Because you will grow old. And remember that when you are 40 years old, you can't keep saying I'm an orphan. That excuse would have what? Expired. Not even the excuse of the economy. You can complain about the dollar being at 22, you can complain about all this, but even the excuse of the economy will expire. So these things expire. Imagine your grandfather saying, you see, my grandchild, I am poor. Because the economy of Zambia in 1968 was bad. You should have been there. 1968. In your heart, you just say, though you may not respond, you just say, but grandpa, if you have nothing to say, there is nothing wrong with keeping quiet. Because it can't hold water. Even that excuse expires. Not even the excuse of COVID. That excuse expires. There is no excuse that you have, even if you cherish it, even if it makes sense now. That excuse will expire. Even if you are in school, imagine someone saying, no, you see, me telling you to say, you see, things are bad because the time in my secondary schools, the prefect wasn't so nice to me, the camp master hated me and whatnot. It wouldn't hold water. So any excuse that we have for our failure doesn't. Even the family that you come from, you can't be 60 years old and keep saying, I was born in a poor family and that is why I'm poor. Even that excuse expires. So there is not a single excuse that holds forever. So even the excuse that you keep holding close to yourself, even that excuse will expire. Are we together? As such, you need to own up and man up. The moment you own up and realize that you are 100% in charge of your life is the moment your life takes a positive direction. As long as you are blaming your aunties, your uncles, your churchmates and everyone else, provided you are still blaming someone else, you never make it and you remain at the same position where you are. Why? Because when you blame others, what that simply says is that I am not the reason why I am here. That one is the reason why I am here. So as such, the moment you own up, things change. You then become in charge of your life. And I'll share this with you. I come from a very humble background, and a number of you will know this. I come from a humble background. I was born in a thatched house, a house with grass on top. I first saw electricity when I was 10 years old. First time seeing electricity, 10 years old. Very disadvantaged background. But you know what? I owned up as a young person. I realized that I was 100% in charge of my life. I knew that the moment I made that decision at Matero Boys, the trajectory changed. The moment I made that decision, things changed. I started selling pamphlets. From pamphlets, I started a kiosk at the farm. I traded in goats. From there on, by the time I was 17 years old, I was importing things from Botswana. 18 years old, I was bringing things from South Africa. 20 years old, I was running an IT company with 2 friends. Samfya Secondary School, the system that they are using for their timetabling and everything is our product. I did it at 20 years old, coming from the village. So, the family you are born from is not an excuse for your failure. 23 years old, a village boy. I was running trucks, 30-ton trucks. 25 years old, 24 years old at my first house. 27 years old, it had to take BBC to come and cover me and say, these are the youths that are making an impact in Africa. So your life can change. So your life can change regardless of your background. What you need to realize is that you need to own up. And you realize that this village boy, I've traveled across Africa, and those that follow me on social media, you realize that in certain countries I am welcomed by the governor of the country. In certain countries I am welcomed by the cabinet ministers of that country. For a simple reason, I owned up and I took 100% of my life. So the moment you bury yourself in this pity party, you will not go anywhere. You keep blaming everyone for your failure. I want you to own up. Are we together? Once you have owned up, there's one thing that sets apart those that make it and those that remain mediocre. Hard work is the third thing that I want you to pick out. You see, the life that you dream of is the life that I dream of. Everyone dreams of the same life. Our dreams are the same. Your dreams, my dreams, the dreams of everyone out there, they dream the same way. We all dream of powerful cars. Who doesn't want to drive a powerful, latest vehicle? Who doesn't want that? We all dream of powerful vehicles. We all dream of living in powerful houses. Who doesn't wish to live in a powerful double-story house? We dream of that, all of us. Who doesn't dream of traveling across the globe and visiting countries with who doesn't dream of traveling across the globe without worrying about savings? We all dream of the same things. Now here's the thing. It is not everyone that is going to achieve that. The dreams are the same. The dreams are constant. All of us are thinking of the same things. We are dreaming of the same things. But we are not going to achieve the same things. Others will achieve the dreams, then others will keep dreaming of the life that others are living. So as such, it is only those that are willing to outwork, those that are willing to out-improve, those are the ones that are going to have this life that you are dreaming of. It's back on? Oh, yes, I was laboring. So those are the ones that are going to have that life. So if there is anything that you need to do, is to begin working hard. And here's something interesting. All of us are naturally lazy. All of us. Everyone here, by default, we are lazy. Everyone. Of course, some of you would say, no, me, I'm a hard worker. I'm naturally a hard worker. You are lying. You are lazy. Here's the thing. Imagine if you had all the money. You can buy any house. You can drive any car. You can travel the globe. You can go to the beach. You can go everywhere. If you had that kind of money, you don't have to worry about money. Would you be waking up at 05? Would you? We wake up at 05 for a simple reason. We are dreaming of a life and we want to achieve something. So we are naturally lazy. So if we had everything at our disposal, we wouldn't be working as hard, or we wouldn't even be working at all. We work because we want to earn. So as such, we are all by default lazy. Now that we are all lazy, those that will make it and those that will be exceptional are those that are willing to outwork, out-improve, and uphold excellence. As such, I challenge you, as you leave this place, to say, you need to be hard workers. We need to charge ourselves because we are dreaming of this life, and if you are to achieve this life that you are dreaming of, we need to be hard workers. Hard work improves chances of success for you. It increases your chances of success. As such, we need to do that. And here's something that I want you to pick. Sometimes we think that here I can't work hard because I'm just an employee. Hard work is not a trait. is not something that you can just wake up one day and say, from today onwards, I am a hard worker. Hard work is a trait that you build over time. As such, if you need to be a hard worker, you need to start today. Today, let it be the changing point. Because hard work is a trait which is built over time. And this is one trait, just as a way of sharing with you. This is one trait that has helped me succeed. And I learned this trait from a long time ago. I remember when I was 15 years old, when I was trading in goats, I would go deep in the villages to buy goats to sell at Chibolia. Now, at one point I realized that the best way of buying goats in the villages would be to buy a bicycle, then take it to the villages, then exchange with goats. So I would get in town, buy a bicycle, not an ordinary brand. For those in the villages, what is that powerful brand? Eagle. It seems we have a lot of villagers here. Eagle. When I get the Eagle, I would ride it to my village. Then the following morning, I would set off very early in the morning to get into deeper villages past Nampundwe mine. Then I would exchange one bicycle with 3, 4, 5 goats, depending on the size of goats. Then I would walk back with those goats to my village. So it's a journey that would take me from 10 hours. I would arrive at my village past midnight at 01. When I get at my village, I would literally feel the heartbeat from under my feet, where your heart is pounding. Really tired, but it was worth it. I was building on the trait of hard work. And as you might know, goats are very energetic. They would be running from one end of the road to the other. So for the first half of the journey, they will be running one end of the road to the other. Then the second half of the journey, they are tired. They start sleeping on the road. I tried pushing, I tried whipping them, they couldn't move. Until I devised a way. I would tickle them, kutekunya. I would tickle them. When I tickle them, they would be re-energized for the next 25 minutes. Of course, don't ask me where I used to tickle and whatnot. That is out of question. The key is I would tickle them, then they would be re-energized. So clearly, hard work was learned at that point. So if you are to be exceptional, you need to be a hard worker. There are no two ways about that. Any responsibility that you are given, even in a church setup like this, apply yourself excellently. This is the training ground. At your local church, apply yourself excellently. If you are being kept, apply yourself excellently. Because you are not a robot that will wake up and one day all of a sudden you are a hard worker. That is why New Year is coming in tomorrow. People have resolutions. Me, 2021, I'll be closer to God. Me, 2021, I'll be this, I'll be exercising. Me, 2021 comes, 5 days later, back to default settings. Why? Some of these things like hard work are traits that are built over time. So if you are to change yourself and become a hard worker, start now. If you want to be successful, it is never too late. You can start now. Hard work is a key ingredient. Now that I'm talking to youths, I'm getting to the fourth one. The first one, I talked about idea generation. Then the second point, I talked about self-pity. Move from that. Then the third one, I've talked to you about hard work, how inevitable hard work is. Then number 4, for the youths, if you want to be successful, one of the things, and this is something that you may not hear of often, just grow old. Did you get that? If you want to be successful, just grow old. As simple as that. Now here's the thing. It is not all old people that get to be successful. But the older you grow, the higher the chances of you being successful. I want you to get me, this is an intellectual sentence, so it will require you to use your brains to get what I'm trying to say. If you have 2 people, they both start working at 25. Both are making 100,000 kwacha a year. Both of them. At 25, they start working and they're making 100,000 kwacha per year. Then one works for 3 years and One has worked for 3 years, then the other one has worked for 25 years. So meaning one is 28 years old, then the other one is 50 years old. They both started working at 25. They are both making 100,000 a year. One has worked for 3 years, meaning he's 25 years old. The other one has worked for 25 years, meaning he's 50 years old. Who has chances of being much more wealthier than the other? The older one, right? For a simple reason. He has had more time, more chances to accumulate wealth. So the older you get, the higher the chances of you becoming wealthy. Are we together on that one? Does it make sense? And this is backed by empirical evidence. By empirical evidence, I mean by research. Simple things. The top 20 richest billionaires in the world, top 20 richest billionaires, out of the 20, there is only one who is less than 40 years old, and that is Mark Zuckerberg. The rest are way older than 40 years. Clearly indicating to say the older you get, the higher the chances of you becoming successful. Africa has 20 billionaires, and out of the 20 billionaires, not even a single one is less than 40 years old. And 10 are over 65 years old. Clearly indicating that the longer you live, the higher the chances of you accumulating wealth. So, age has a factor in you becoming successful. Now, what am I driving to? Brethren, as you go back to your respective places, I want you to live lives that would make it possible for you to live longer. No one can predict life. Any person can die at any time. Any person. But here's the thing. Sometimes we cut our lives short. There are successful Zambians that I have seen who are very powerful, and they would have become super powerful, but they lived their lives recklessly, and their lives were cut short. So if you are to be exceedingly successful, one of the things is just make sure you grow old. How do you do that? Do the simple, subtle things. Number one, exercise. Keep your body healthy. Exercise every day. Keep yourself fit. Outside that, eat healthy. Extremely important. Don't consume things that would, affect your body. Drugs and everything else. Forget about that, because that will deny you an opportunity to become successful. And for the brethren and sisters, here's the thing. Do not engage in illicit sex. I think we are youths and we can talk about it as is. These issues of, tapping this gate, that gate, it has brought powerful leaders in the church, youths that were powerful MGs, down to the grave quite early. Powerful singers who would have achieved so much more, down to the grave quite early. Powerful people that would have been a beacon of excellence in Africa. They've gone down for a simple reason. Engaging in activities that do not add value. I thought you should know that growing older, the older you grow, the higher the chances of you succeeding. As such, take it upon yourself every day to make sure that you do things that add value to yourself and not things that will shorten your life, because your wealth lies in there. Does it make sense? You see, as we move from that, we'll get to one key component, which is the last one for now. I want you to add value to yourself. Raise your value. This is a very important component. Here's the thing. No matter how powerful of a street sweeper you can be, no matter how neat you can sweep the streets, you will never earn more than a medical doctor on a wage. You will never. Why? Because the medical doctor has added so much value on themselves. Value is the determining factor on how wealthy you become and how poor you remain. value that you've added on yourself. When you've added value on yourself and you are to get a job, you'll be paid way much more than others. Why? The determining factor is value. How much value do you have on yourself? You see, there are speakers that would speak for free. Then there are others that would charge. And I'm not apologetic about this. I'll say it as is. For me, for those international speaking engagements, for those that follow me on Facebook, all those international speaking engagements that you see, every time I hold a mic outside Zambia, the charge is simple and standard. $5,000 per hour. 1 hour that I stand to speak, $5,000, which is about 110,000 kwacha per hour. I speak for 1 hour, I take questions the other 1 hour, it is $10,000, 220,000 kwacha per 2 hours. My voice no longer just comes out. My voice comes with an invoice for a simple reason. I have added value to myself. I have added value to myself. So the determining factor, even consultants, you have others that would consult for, 300 kwacha per hour, others consult for 20,000 kwacha per hour. The difference is that one has value more than the other. Even in a job, you have others that would get a 500 kwacha a month, others would get a 20, a 50, 100,000 kwacha a month. The difference is that one has value. So your key every day is to make sure that as you wake up, you add value to yourself. Now, the question is, how do you add value to yourself? That is the key question. How you add value to yourself, there are many ways that you can utilize to actually add value to yourself. The first one is engage in activities that add value to you. Number one, reading. Reading is one of the things that naturally add value to yourself. That falls under education. Whether you get formal education or informal education, the key is consume knowledge. The more knowledgeable you are, the more valuable you are. Do you know why you pay your lecturers at school? It is because they know more than yourself. That's why you pay them. They know more. So the easiest way of adding value to yourself is to read, study content that adds value to you. The challenge that we have is that we have specialized in minors. We have specialized in things that do not add value. And this is the trend across all of us youths. If you look on things that we follow on Facebook, we follow memes and jokes, laughing our way to poverty. Those are things that entertain us. From now on, as you go back, check the pages that you follow. Check the pages that you follow. Check the content that you consume. You see, the funny thing is this. Even on pages like Mwebantu, which is the biggest, largest media platform that we have in the country, you notice that on things that... How many minutes? Oh. All right, so I'll summarize it in five minutes. Okay, it's okay. So on the same page, you notice that when Iris poses with a ring and puts her hand on the steering wheel, then the caption is Iris. Check the comments. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1,000 comments, 500 shares, and everyone is talking about it. What they are basically saying is that, you see, this is too good to be true. This news, I can't just see it myself, I must share this. But on the same page, let USAID say we are funding women, and this is the criteria. check the post, same page, 5 likes, 1 comment, no share. Why? We have put ourselves in a situation where we are specializing in minors. I want you, as you go back, to be a person of value. How you add value, the content that you consume has a determining factor on how far you can go. Everything that you get to see has a determining factor on how far you can go. As such, I want you to realize that one of the things that easily add value on you, it is the kind of people that you associate with. Associations. Did you know that if I posed with the former president or the president, instantly my value goes up? It's like, no, this one associates with this, so this one is at this level. The people you associate with have an impact on the value that you have on yourself. So, if you are to add value on yourself, also watch the kind of people that you associate with. You realize one thing, there are people that I respect, men that I respect. Not that there is anything to respect with them, but when I look at the kind of wife they have, I think, wow, I think there should be something with this man. Why? His association has added value to him. Are we together? So the people that you associate with can add value to you, and they push you. Because if you're associating with wrong people, you find yourself competing on wrong things, competing on how broke you are. Boy, inenichoyuma, matindiwe, ineniwes. I'm done. Competing on wrong things. But if you are dealing with people that have value, they have a way of pushing you to the next level. As such, I want you to choose your associations carefully. They have an impact on how far you can go and how much more you can achieve. As such, I want you to leave you with these words. I know during the sessions we will interact much more in detail. I want you to leave these words with you. Anything is possible. We can achieve that through Christ who strengthens us. Let us be a beacon of excellence. As God's children, let us not be comfortable as tails. We can be heads and change the trajectory that this world is taking. As such, I want you to take it upon yourself that you can make it, and it is possible by God's grace. No one is given a bad life, and no one is given a good life. You are just given life. It is up to you to make it good or bad. May God bless you all.